Hey guys, welcome back. So like I had said in the first video, you have 4 sets of practice problems for this week, which also means you have 4 video keywords, so make sure you're paying attention to find that video keyword. We're going to have, oh goodness, can't talk. We're going to go ahead and get started on this 4th lesson here. So we are in the 6th grade workbooks, Unit 8, Lesson 4. So our first question is looking at homework time. So 25 6th grade students answered the question, how many hours do you generally spend on homework each week? So our first question, why is this question a statistical question? So why do we think it's statistical? Yeah, because we have to take, it's answered by collecting data, so answered by collecting data. And do you suppose there's going to be some variability within that question about how many hours you spend on homework each week between all the 25 students that are being asked? Yeah, and there will be variability. So remember, with statistical questions, we want them to have that variability. We want to have different possible responses. We don't just want an exact answer. So keep that in mind when we deal with our statistical questions. All right. The next question. This dot plot shows the number of hours per week that these 25 students reported spending on homework. I'm going to get this a little closer, you guys, so you can see it a little better. So there's our dot plot. So it looks like we had some students, we had one student say that they spent 0 hours, and then the highest we went up to was one student said that they spent 9 hours a week on homework. So our first question, using this dot plot, we're going to answer, what percentage of the students reported spending 1 hour on homework each week? So we only want to look at the 1 hour. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 students. So 5 out of, well, how many students reported on this? 25, yep. So 5 out of 25, which is the same thing as 1/5. Or if we take 1 and divide it by 5, we're going to get 20% for our percentage there. So about 20%, well, not about, 20% of these students that reported on their times for homework in a week, 20% of them only spend 1 hour a week doing homework. All right, for B, what percentage of the students reported spending 4 or fewer hours on homework each week? So when it says 4 or fewer, that means we're going to include the 4 and everything below it. So we know we have 5 on the 1. There's 6 on the 0, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, 15, 16, 17. So it looks like we have 17 out of 25 who spend 4 or fewer hours each week. 17 out of 25 is equal to 68%. So over a majority of these students are spending 4 or fewer hours a week on their homework. So for question 3, would 6 hours per week be a good description of the number of hours this group of students spends on homework per week? What about 1 hour per week? What do we think? Is 6 a good description? No. 6 is not a good description. Only 3 students spend that much time. Everyone else, most everyone else spends less. Bless me, sorry. Whew. Okay, so the second part of this, what about 1 hour per week? Is that a good description of the number of hours? Only 1 hour? Now, while 1 hour does have the majority, the most students reported 1 hour, if we look at the rest of the data in there, it's not really going to be 1 hour. There's a lot of students who reported 2 hours and 4 hours and 3 hours as well. So 1 hour is also not a good description. So what we're looking at here with our line plots and determining what represents a good description of it, that all goes with the distribution. So looking at how the values have been distributed, how the hours distribute amongst the students' reports. So for number 4, what value do you think would be a good description of the homework time of the students in this group? So thinking back to that dot plot, what would be a good value for it? So a good estimate would be between 3 and 4. So we had a lot of students who said 3, a lot of students who said 4. So it's kind of right there in the middle. So it's in the middle of the distribution. Distribution is your key word for this lesson. Distribution is your key word. All right, and for number 5, the last question here. Someone said, in general, these students spend roughly the same number of hours doing homework. Do you agree? Do you think they mostly did the same amount of homework each week, or the same number of hours each week? No. Disagree. The data is spread from 0 to 9. So that's a pretty big spread of data. And so we've got one student who spends 0 hours and another student who's spending 9 hours. So saying that they all spend the same amount of time, not even close with that big of a spread. So looking at spreads of data and being able to determine different scenarios and different ideas and results based on our data and looking at what we have is crucial. So like I said, the keyword for this lesson is distribution. Make sure you get that submitted on Canvas. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Happy mathing!